After dominating for 3 seasons in a row, Ina finally gets the nerf bet, and this time for real, more than certainly falling behind the top builds, at least in pushing. Fortunately, the build that has already been a strong contender, namely LOD Wave of Light, doesn't just remain unchanged, but receives a sizable buff from the new seasonal power, making it one of the absolute strongest builds in the game. Note that this build isn't beginner friendly. It requires good gear with perfect cooldown reduction, while being an LOD build benefiting from ancient items, scaling extremely well with area damage, and having some resource issues, unless you manage to get some RCR rolls on your gear. While I could clear 142 with just a shield pylon and some terrible maps, and probably could have gone way higher with some fishing and practice, I had some pretty damn good gear that would take a long time to acquire on nice servers. On top of the tedious gearing, it is also a rather hard build to play perfectly, since the new bell mechanics add another layer on an already challenging playstyle. But let's go quickly over what's happening. The build requires Epiphany to be up all the time, to deal damage and survive, and our most important goal is to get its cooldown reset in time. To achieve that, we use the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac and spam bells left and right all the time. The biggest issue with dropping Epiphany is that a big portion of our toughness comes from the stone gauntlets, which nullifies our attack and movement speed if we aren't currently immune to crowd control. You can see it happens quite a few times in the Rift, and I completely lose control over my character. Not having a generator means that we rely on pressing RLI to refill our spirit, which is another CD ability that needs to reset in time. You can see that it is fairly easy to screw up the rotation and become helpless, while the build isn't that tanky in the first place and has a squirts buff too, which we want to preserve in some situations. And now comes the new bell mechanic. Pressing Wave of Light doesn't do any damage, it just places a bell on the ground that acts like an enemy target. The bell will explode when you hit it in any way, dealing damage to all enemies around it. The way we activate our bells is by using Cyclone Strike, which also pulls in enemies into the explosions. And this is pretty much it. We lay down our bells where we want them, then detonate them with Cyclone Strike and deal huge damage. There are a few additional noteworthy things about the bells. They are impassable, can block enemies but you as well. They cannot be put exactly on a monster. You can teleport on them with Epiphany, they have a health bar and doesn't necessarily despawn from a single hit, and Conduit can zap them but doesn't trigger the explosion, which might reduce the pylon's effectiveness since it might zap our bells instead of the mobs around. This is all I have for now from the roughly 10 rifts I played with the build. If you are already a fan of Wave of Light, you will probably like this build even more. Despite the build is very powerful, it doesn't seem bugged or anything, so hopefully Blizzard will leave it like this. I will leave you with the rest of the clear, while you can check my gear at the end as well. Hope you enjoyed the video, if so, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. See you next time.
I must live longer. I must heal. New heights. cannot do that. Must heal. I must wait longer. Strength fails. My wound is not ready yet. I grow weak. I must wait longer. Your flaws are revealed. I must wait to use that ability.